And the PSI's ability is just MVP. Look at this. It's so freakishly good. Hello gamers, my name is KK and today we are continuing our rubric with the God Boosted Heroes. Today on our dinner plate we have PSI, the newest hero up to date, and this hero does not disappoint. PSI has the strongest capability on popping all the blimps except the ZOMGs, and this hero definitely have some potential. So I decided to get boost this guy, and let's find out by the end of this video how good is gonna be PSI and how good is he performing until round 120. We have a few set of rules that we apply to the God Boost series. First, we are allowed to use a few support towers, such as the Ice Tower, 5th tier on the bottom path, and the Glue Gunner Super Glue. These guys deal damage to the balloons, yes, but they are a necessity most of the times, because once there are a lot of blimps later on, even after round 100, the heroes usually struggle, and we need the stunning towers in order to prevent the huge losses and in order to help out the heroes. We are also allowed to place one alchemist per brew. That is going to be eventually the perma brew, because for now it's going to be the regular alchemist. He will help out in the beginning. And we are also allowed to farm really hard. We are allowed to have all the towers that don't pop the balloons, basically farms, villages, and if we want to, we can use the stunning towers and the slow down towers out of range of the balloons. So for example, we can use sabotage supply line, we can use the overclock engineer, and in our case we're going to use the hyper boost, and we can use the nuclear sub in order to reduce the cooldowns of the abilities. As simple as that. And the end goal of this is to find out how many pops can the hero get, because we're gonna carry almost all the heroes up to round 120. First we will find out if PSI can get to this round, and second we will find out how many pops does the hero have, because by round 120 there are 8.2 million, so 8,200,000 pops. How many pops out of those will the hero have? Because, for example, Churchill already had 7.9 million. For now, it is the highest ranking in our system. Adora had, I think, 7.6 million. So those are really high records. Can the PSI beat those two? And basically, how good is he? I might create the graphs by the end of the series so that we can see how heroes ranked in this one, maybe in the last episode, but for now let's just focus on the PSI. And same thing, we are allowed to use all the no damage towers. Good. So for now, the way I think this should be played out is by farming hard. As you can see, PSI deals quite a good damage, but alchemists help him, and we also have a few glue gunners in order to stun the stronger balloons. I don't upgrade the tier 3 glue gunners to glue all the regular balloons just because we don't need this, because we will sell them anyways, and PSI is not so bad as it seems at the first glance. As you can see, PSI easily deals with these rounds, and the difficulty probably would be on the round 40, because PSI does not have the ability to pop this blimp yet. But you will see how I handle this. It's gonna be pretty interesting. So for now, we focus on the farms. The type of farming I chose for the series is the banana market farming, because it's the easiest one. It does not deal like you any stress, and you can just place it and leave it. So what I did is I bought the boomerang monkey to counter the blimps, because PSI has no anti-blimp powers before this certain levels. I will sell this boomerang monkey, I'm pretty sure, when PSI will be able to destroy the Moabs in one shot, because PSI, if anyone, should be called one-shot hero, because you will see it's something else. He can one-shot all the balloons on level 20 except the bad balloons, unfortunately. It would be pretty funny if he dealt damage to the bad, he would be way overpowered. But, okay, so these are the rules. We are farming hard with the markets and we chill. And today, guys, I'm gonna tell you a story, because this is also one of the better things about this rubric, that I'm telling you the stories about the trips I had in my life, about traveling, and about a lot of interesting stuff. So today I'm gonna tell you the story about the St. Petersburg in Russia. I traveled to St. Petersburg in 2016. I remember this trip really well because it was interesting, it was unusual, etc. I myself am from Ukraine, and in Ukraine we speak both Ukrainian and Russian. So I felt really comfortable in Russia because I understood everything, people understood me, and you know, there is always this barrier when you're traveling to another country that you are a foreigner. In Russia, I didn't really feel like I'm a foreigner because I knew the language and it was easy for me to grasp what the vibes there, and for me to understand the people and for people to understand me. Basically, my relatives used to live in St. Petersburg at that time, and we visited them and stayed at their place there. Basically, my aunt, which is my mother's sister, we traveled a lot there together. So the good things about St. Petersburg, what I liked and what I disliked. The first thing I like, let's say the cultural development of this city, mainly in terms of mindset of people. The thing that I'm not used to, as this is not a thing in most countries, is that in St. Petersburg, if people don't wanna take a seat in subway, they will not take a seat in subway, they will just stand. I'm not sure if this is common at your country of residence, but I have seen this only in St. Petersburg and Toronto, not in other countries, because I don't know why. Probably it's peer pressure that if we see the empty seat, we are pressured to take the seat even if we don't want to sit. That's how things are in most countries, because that's how things are in my home city, Odessa. It's same thing in the Turkey where I live right now. It's same in most places, but not there. And it's not Russia specific, it's more city specific, which is a fascinating thing to me. So I was pleasantly surprised about this. Also, the people were more polite than I expected, and the overall vibe was not so much of a big city, but rather the medium-sized city, even though St. Petersburg is a giant city. Its population is 5.5 million people, and it's very huge, bigger than most of the Europe cities. So these are the good things. The bad things is same as with all big cities. People usually are pretty closed, people don't like to look you into the eyes, and etc, etc. So the big problems of each big city. Traffic is pretty big. Oh, I also like that there are a lot of good cars there. Usually the bigger the city, the richer it is, and this was no exception. There are a lot of good cars, the BMWs, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, and there are, the funny thing, like in Russia there is corruption. I'm pretty sure you understand what it is, and with the corrupt workers that earn a lot of money usually drive the luxurious cars, and they have the safeguards that are following them everywhere. And this is, I have seen those on the roads, so not the actual guards that are near their back or something, but maybe they have those, but they drove, so the main car of the corrupt guy or the rich guy, however you want to call them, was in the center, and in front and behind of these guys there were two cars, sometimes even four cars, the armored Mercedes Maybachs. So these are the armored luxurious cars that are guarding the main person. It's pretty funny, and in most countries, rich people are not don't need this, but in Russia, people opt to get this kind of safety because it's not the most safe country in the world. Let's put it this way. But for my personal safety, it was just fine. All the locations I visited, they didn't have any crime whatsoever. I was in the main parts of the city, so the downtown, and I also visited the ex-royal town near the St. Petersburg. It's also an interesting venue. So, the first thing I want to mention about the St. Petersburg is probably the architecture and the preservation of the culture. There is the Winter Palace thing in the St. Petersburg. It's the palace where the Tsar resided when the Russian Empire still existed. Okay, I don't know why I didn't sell the boomerang, but I guess I decided to leave it. Okay, so the Winter Palace. Right now, Winter Palace is a part of the Hermitage Museum, which is second biggest museum in the world. The only one museum that is bigger than Hermitage is the Louvre in Paris. So I visited this museum, and it was really massive. If you think that you have been to big museums, the other museums have nothing on the Hermitage. It's such a massive museum. Just to put it in the perspective, imagine the big plaza, and let's call plaza like kilometer wide. It's still not gonna be bigger than this museum inside. It's such a massive place. It has dozens of different locations. For example, the ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Scandinavian stuff, etc., etc. Then they have the more modern stuff, the statues, the paintings, like so much fucking different shit that it's pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie, I liked this museum, and I'm pretty sure it's either number one or number two as the museum that has the most collectible items stored. And I'm pretty sure the museum owned around 200,000 collectibles, but they displayed only 30,000 out of those. Imagine how large the facility needs to first to display those, and second to store 5.5 times more items than you display. So this place is massive. I'm pretty sure it's sponsored by the government, and Russians really do take care of their museums. I really liked it. The only thing that I didn't like was the amount of... Don't take this as a discrimination, but it was specific people in this museum that I didn't like. There were a lot of rude Chinese people, specifically Chinese. I don't know why they were specifically Chinese and they were so rude, but it is just my experience. I'm not saying that all Chinese are rude, don't get me wrong. Just these specific people there were a lot of tourist groups, maybe because they were like kids, because I'm pretty sure these were the school trips from China with the whole class. There were a lot of groups of 20 of Chinese kids, and it was pretty darn annoying. They were loud, they littered everywhere, and it was not funny. Other than these people, it was just fine. Okay, the next thing, first, I also want to return to the game for a bit. I killed the bat balloon using the mob dominator, but I sold it, and then I decided to get the MAD, because the only thing that PSI struggles against is, of course, the bat balloons. So I'm gonna snipe the bad layer using MAD, and everything else PSI will destroy himself. We are also using the sabotage to slow down everything, and the PSI's ability is just MVP. Look at this. It's so freakishly good. Back to the St. Petersburg. Then we just walked. The downtown is beautiful. I really enjoyed walking there. It's well designed and it's also well lit. You gotta appreciate the good lighting in the night streets of the city, because if the city is lit poorly, it's not gonna be beautiful. Here, the lighting was exceptional. You can Google the Nevsky Prospect in St. Petersburg, and you're gonna see it's just really good. Well designed. Next thing, we have been to the Petergov, not Petersburg, but Petergov. Petergov is the town where royals resided on their vacations. This town had the most amount of gold I have ever seen, displayed on the statues, on the walls, on the paintings, on the dresses, fucking everywhere. It's like the biggest concentration of gold I've ever seen, even though I've been to the royal palaces of Turkey, Thailand, and other rich families. Those have nothing on this Russian city. It was the Queen Elizabeth II who designed this thing, and just to put in the perspective how rich this queen was, and I would say not rich but rather spoiled, because the things she did were, I'm pretty sure they are not going to be acceptable right now. Basically, this queen never wore the one dress twice. So she had 10,000 dresses, and each day she wore a new dress, and each dress was luxurious as fuck. And this is how rich she was and how spoiled she was, because I think it's dumb and wasteful to have so much clothing that you don't wear. And there is also like the common rumor about this queen that she had as many lovers as she had the dresses. So you can imagine the queen she was. So it was a really interesting experience, because really, like, the amount of gold was ridiculous. There are gold in the fountains, in the statues. There are a lot of plazas, and on all of these plazas there is gold. Gold inside the palace, gold in the walls, gold in I'm not sure if they had the gold in the toilets, but I bet if there is a place that has golden toilets, this would be one. Okay, we have 6 million pops in the PSI. Not bad, but not the best score either. I would say PSI is kinda in the middle because of his low group popping power capabilities. PSI is good one-shot hitter, but he's struggling quite a bit against the late game. So this is the conclusion. St. Petersburg was very enjoyable. I do recommend to visit it yourself if you have the opportunity. It's a really beautiful and polite city. Also, do visit the Petrogov. You're gonna laugh of how much gold there is. Okay guys, press the like or dislike button right now, depending on what you think about this video. Tell me what hero you wanna see next in this series, and see ya in the next one.